Hello friends, my name is Akram Haq. I am your host of the evening FB live show, and as we promised, we come every day for this week. From next week we'll come thrice a week. So today we have got a very interesting topic, very interesting subject. I feel it is interesting, and to me it is actually one of the most priority areas for any nation. That is, should unplanned population growth be declared a national emergency, especially in the context of India? Now, the subject is, when I say unplanned population growth, population is important because it is at the end of the day population that matters and that makes nations or that builds nations. But if the population growth is not properly planned, it might lead to a failure in the society in terms of managing the socio-economic affairs and welfares. So to discuss on this subject, I have a very eminent, a group of eminent panelists and speakers who are on the ground working on this subject, on this issue. So from the extreme right, I have Dr. Rajiv Acharya. He's an associate Poverty, Gender and Youth Program at Population Council. It's an organization which is working on population control, population, and all the data, facts or statistics that we get from the government of India. It is actually the Population Council which does the background work, most of it. So on my right, I have also Dr. Sushant Kumar Banerjee, and he is the Senior Director Research and Evaluation at a very important and interesting with an organization that is IPAS Development Foundation. And we will learn more how IPAS Development Foundation has also been contributing in this field of population control. On my left, I have Ms. Samina Nasreen, who is a lecturer at Jamia Millia Islamia University teaching biology, and she is also a member of the AMU, Aligarh Muslim University All Boys Association, New Delhi. And most interestingly, she is contesting for the member executive committee of the India Islamic Cultural Center election that is happening. And I think the final election date is 6th of January. And we will see new faces or new leadership coming to this important organization from the community development's point of view. Now, to start off the debate or discussion, in fact, it is not a debate because we are not a typical media. So we discuss this important topic, this important subject, and bring out the core factors. We will discuss what is the population growth trend in this country. We will compare India's population policies or strategies vis-a-vis other countries. We will talk about what are the remedies, solutions at the micro level as well as at the macro level. So I want to start with Dr. Acharya. Before that, I want to present some facts. As per a media report, by 2050, India's population is going to touch 170 crore, means 1.69 billion, which is like 170 crore people. Currently, we have 136 crore population, which is huge, which is the second largest one. We'll go into more statistics. China's population is 1.31, and by 2050 it is said that we'll be crossing China, will be the world's most populous country. So Dr. Acharya, how do you see this population growth? Is it planned? Is it unplanned? If it is planned or unplanned, does it worry you to be a concerned citizen or being part of a research organization or part of a policymakers?
I would say that population growth has been controlled for quite an extent in India. In 1970s, you would have every woman would replace her for 5.6 children, where now it has become 2.2. So you see there's a change that we have. Our growth rate has come down considerably. Particularly, I think out of 30 states, about 24 states are now replacement or below replacement level. The only 6 populous states which are above the level that we want to all achieve. Okay, which is called a replacement level fertility is 2.1 children per woman, which we hope that we'll achieve soon. But the thing is that still the population will not stop growing for some time because there's a momentum. Okay, so that will take some time, and that's why they are saying that about 2050 we are likely to attain a sustained
Right.
population. But yeah, I'm hopeful that we have been working quite hard. Indian government has been working quite hard. Work has been done. Yes, there are some concerned areas where we could have done much better. Things could have been accelerated a little bit more than what we think. But as we all know that India is a huge country with huge diversity, different cultures, different segments of population that we have, that many other countries don't have that. So we have to cater to all kinds of demands and supplies issues for different segments of population. Okay, and we have been doing good, and I hope that we'll achieve. I'm not very concerned really that we'll go
Okay.
and explode. That situation is no more. There was a situation at one point of time. We have done well from there.
Okay, I'll come to the questions and these things later. But Dr. Banerjee, how do you see the population trend in this country? How satisfied are you with this? Do you agree with Dr. Acharya on this?
I think here Dr. Acharya has raised and set the ball roll here in terms of global demography. You are very correct. 2050 that India's population will be projected around 1.7 billion, and by that time India would be contributing 18% or 19% of global
Absolutely.
population. Therefore, from that context, probably I think we should not be so concerned. That concern we are actually perceiving 20 or 25 years back. Population growth has been arrested, and a good symbol is that around 24 states in India already has achieved below replacement level fertility. But that what Dr. Acharya was telling you, the population momentum, and that the momentum theory is actually still India's population growth is factored by few selected states. Frankly speaking, few selected states whose total fertility rate is still close to 3 or more than 2.5. They are contributing much growth to India's population. And state like Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, Rajasthan, these states that probably contributing a huge momentum of fertility declining in India. Therefore, if these four can work together, I see that India is really doing very well. Because all of the southern part of India, all states
Right.
are already much below than below replacement level. West Bengal and Punjab already has achieved much lower. The total fertility rate of West Bengal is now 1.7. There was a huge gap between rural and urban. Now that gap is also reducing. Punjab is, after this census and in a National Family Health Survey, is doing extremely well. Contraceptive prevalence rate is very high, and Punjab's fertility rate is also has declined in a huge way. It is around, I think, 1.7. Now, with this context, what I can say that yes, India is doing very well, but always you have to understand that this is 1.3 billion population. If you want to move anything for 1.3 billion population, this is a huge task, because you have to change 1.3 billion, by any decimal is really a huge matter for a country like India. And China, I think that all projection now we need.
Actually, we'll come to the China point later.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is all the more difficult when half of your population is illiterate, and when your public delivery mechanism, I think, is the disastrous. So in such a context, I think it is quite challenging. Now, Ms. Nasreen, I want to come to you on this. How do you see the entire picture of population growth and population trend of this country?
See, I think so that we are facing the challenges, and we are able to cope up with the challenges, and the population growth rate is not so much exploding. It is going down, as sir has already explained the data,
Right.
especially from South and West Bengal and Bihar, UP. So not only in rural or urban areas, we are mostly doing the work, and government is making the policies, and people are mostly they are aware. I think so, getting
Okay.
aware. So we will come up with our growth rate of population at a certain level, very low after some period of time, I think so. And I am hoping for the best, because various technologies we are using for this growth rate to be down, population growth rate, so that it should not be exploded away more, and
Okay.
to control population explosion. And the best methods, different applied methods, reproductive certain techniques, they are being used. So I think so that it will be controlled after some
I see.
period of time.
So we have.
The government has to look
So
towards
when
the
when
policy.
when we started the issue, then we have a positive note on the debate. I'm quite surprised and amazed to see that. I thought the tone would be negative in terms of, because we are not that so far that successful. But I'm quite now today hopeful that I think then we don't need to have this debate right now. What I'm feeling now, but we'll come to that later. I want to present some basic facts so that our viewers know about the facts of this population thing. So according to the 2021 census, exactly we have 2011 census, we had 121 crore population in this country. Now that by 2019, as per the United Nations estimates, it is currently 136 crore. That's the estimation. Now, interesting fact that is coming from here is that 33.6% of this population is urban, which means a larger portion of the population are from the villages, are rural. The second thing that is coming, the male population, the current male population is 51.6, and the female population is 48.4, which is quite balanced, which is not very different. But we often talk about female feticide and ratio, male female ratio, which is still a problem for this country. I don't want to go detail into it, but what I want to seek your views on this. So it is not a national crisis, according to
I
you,
would not say it's a crisis at this moment.
and it should not be declared so.
No, no way.
Right. Now, if that is so, what is the role that the government is playing? What role government needs to play from here?
We'll talk about that, but I think government is already playing role. Without government intervention, this huge population could not have been controlled. Okay, so we have one of the oldest family planning program in the world. Okay,
I see.
so it's not that family planning is new to us. Yes, there have been cases. There have been times where we did not do well. There have been times where the family planning was stagnant, acceptance was stagnant. They were only depending on one or two methods to control family planning. But for recently, Government of India is now open to add more methods to the basket. Okay, so that women can go and choose which method they want to use for their purpose. And purpose could be she wants to control for 2 years, 5 years. She can completely stop it. Every option should be on her plate. Okay,
Even for 3 months.
even for 3 months, right?
Okay.
So all these options. So I think without government you cannot do anything. And government is doing this. Yes, I mean as I said many times so far that there are concerns, there are places, areas where we could do much better.
Right.
We can talk about that.
I will come to the positive aspect of it. In fact, I want to commit now, since we are quite on a positive note, that the biggest advantage of having a good amount of population or a large section of population is that we have the largest middle class population of this world. and that is what is only sustaining or surviving this perhaps the economy. Because if you have the largest middle class population, the middle class are the consumers, and that's why there are a lot of economic activities are happening in this country, and that's why also there are a lot of foreign investment coming to this country, because the entire world is looking at India not only as a place for doing good business, but also as a potential market for the country. So talking from that front, how do you see this, Dr. Banerjee?
See that India is always tagged like, that reservoir of middle class population of the world. But, we need to be very careful. India's middle class is not that middle class globally is analyzed. Therefore, very rational middle class. Therefore, I think, it is always a good line to say that, that we are having the largest middle class population. But at the same time, it is also an equal concern for India that managing the aspiration and their consumerism.
Absolutely. So
for the next few decades with this number, the momentum we have, because the globe is changing. Globe is now communicated through different media. People are getting all sorts of information, aspiration level at all slabs of population, all wealth quantiles basically, Q1 to Q4, Q5, all are having information and all are very, very aspirant. And that is really a huge concern than the number of population we have.
I see.
Can we be able to manage this aspiration? People are all looking for a job. We are not ready to, manage that number. Therefore, I think, that we have to see that population in a very broad dimension. It is not the number. It is not only the family planning or fertility. How we can ensure the quality of life, that is real concern and big challenge for us.
So, ma'am, I want to come to you on this point. So, our two speakers, they have been saying that our replacement rate is low. It is quite, doable for a nation, and we can go on for a reason. But don't you think by 2050, when our I'll come back to you also on this. By 2050, when we have 170 crore population, and I think by that time, our largest section of the population will be in the elderly people. I think almost 40 large section. I think almost 40% of the population would be between the age bracket of 50 to 70. Don't you think then it is going to be a real worry for this country when your largest section, 40% of the population are old, and you have 170 crore population to take care of?
So I think so that government has to make policies and new policies, new technologies, new methods, and people are much aware due to media and all, and they will be more aware this modern age. So I think so that we will find there at that time also some remedies and
right. So you are hopeful. There are politicians
they also cooperate. I think so they will also cooperate. They will find remedy before they come to that stage, that we will think, because we are much, I think so the younger generation or the coming generations, they will be much aware. As sir has told that about the middle class, that they will reach their aspirations and all the family control methods.
No, aspiration was a big issue that we have to reach. So right, I got it.
So it will, we will try to manage, and I'm hoping for the best.
Yeah. So hoping for the best, I want your comment on this. Don't you think it's a real worry, and by 2050 we should really be worried about when we have a large?
Actually not, because as he said, and I also said once, that you cannot stop the population like a break.
Absolutely,
it is not possible. Okay, we'll come to China.
Right,
so
we'll come on that. In fact, the next point will be there.
The negative part of it. So it is a very natural course of transition that we are having. This is called population transition. Okay, your fertility will go down, your mortality rates will go down, migration will be managed, and you will reach a population that is sustainable with your resources. Okay, I'm not saying that 1.7 billion can be sustained with the current resources that we have. We have to do much more. We have to have technology in agriculture, more food productions, and many things. We have been doing well, and that's why our below poverty population, number of people who are below poverty line has been constantly declining. every government so far has been working for them. And yes, 1.7 looks like a big number, 40% or so. I don't know, 40% no.
I do not know exactly figure. I just quoted that estimated figure would be like that.
People, not 40%.
So you can correct also.
Yeah, I
20.
think that at this point of time that it is going on 8.6. Southern states are more than 10%. Therefore, the trend is that my own work on this actually that I projected till 2030. See that India will have aging problem by number. India will not have aging problem by percentage. Therefore, percentage you should not be bothered. Actually, we should be bothered that the huge magnitude. At this point of time,
absolutely, that is my point.
Yeah, at this point of time, we are having 51 million male elderly population, 53 million female elderly population, which is actually a big country in the world on elderly population. Now, what really issue will come? India is no way prepared to deal with this elderly population because we don't have old age security or any kind of policy.
Absolutely.
So we have to make the policies, that's why.
Yeah, that's a huge thing because they know that there is no pension system.
No pension. We have to think.
And and then majority of our population is working in the unorganized sector. Therefore, unorganized sector is not having any cushion and precautionary measure for their old age. But there is a big but that India is now globally sounded as the most lucky country because of the youth population. Yes. Our youth population is actually 50% of our population is less than 25 years, and around 20%, 19.5% is actually 15 to 24. You can understand the magnitude. This is best in the world at this point of time. Therefore, we have human machines, but it will be a big blunder if we cannot utilize this machine.
That's what the point that I want to come to. It's a blessing that we have such a large young population, but do you think we are correctly utilizing them?
Taking away, because by 2030, 2035, our youth population proportion is going to go down. That means our demographic dividend that we are talking about.
Right.
Now,
Are we really leveraging the democratic dividend? I think not. We are not neither able to provide the education, skills, employment, education, skill, employment. If we are not able to give them that same dividend that we are talking about, democratic dividend we are talking about, that is actually a demographic disadvantage for you. And all of them who are not formally employed in the formal sector, they are going to join all the illegal informal areas. They can possibly find an opportunity of work.
We will have some informal sector and formal sector. We have a large unorganized informal sector,
right,
where many other countries in the Western countries they don't have.
Right.
Okay. But it is not easy.
It is not an easy task. Are we moving to that direction? How far successfully?
I think that by saying informal, it is not true sense informal.
Yeah.
The question is that India cannot really make it formal for the whole population.
Yes.
No way it is possible.
Okay, even if we are not bothered about formal, informal, but are we employing our resources?
No, actually that, what really is happening, the way number of educated youths are increasing, the same way we are not able to diversify our economy, as well we are not really able to generate quality job for aspirant, what I told earlier.
Right.
So that will be a big challenge. We are not able to, because that after probably that education, many of them they are not interested to go back to their family occupation.
Absolutely.
And that will be a challenge. Therefore, we need real diversification of jobs.
Yes.
So that people can earn modest amount and at the same time can sustain the economy. Otherwise, if we think that government will manage 1.4 billion population, it's an absurd proposition.
I see. How do you want to react on this, ma'am?
I totally agree what sir has said, and I think so that the different policies, educations, poverty,
We'll come to the solutions later. Now we are analyzing the problem. When we talk about the problem, I want to point out, actually rephrase what we are discussing actually. So we have 18% almost percentage population of the world population. Our concentration is 18%.
Now it is 16.
Now it is 16.
But 2050,
Right.
50 it will be.
So my research is saying 17.74.
Yeah.
So that's
Difference.
it's a decimal difference. Now our proportion to the world GDP, I think I cannot remember exactly. I would request my viewers to check this figure, but it's not more than 3%. I think it's 1 point something percent. Now when your GDP proportion, world GDP proportion is 1 to 3%, but your population percentage proportion is 17 or 18%, that does show a disproportionate figure and statistics.
That's why we are not so-called developed country.
Yeah.
Right.
We are still developing.
We are still developing.
Now-
we have to move towards more sustainable development.
Now that is what the point I want to come.
In agriculture.
I want now, right, ma'am. So I want now to draw your attention to, if you can share some experience from the international world, how the world, especially like China, Nepal, Bangladesh, European Union, have been working on this concept of planned population growth. Because the difference between planned population growth and unplanned population growth is that when you do planning in the population growth, you exactly know how you are implementing the policies, parallel policies, so that there is a complete or comprehensive national development plan. But when it is unplanned, even if it is not much, it does worry. How do you react and see the international comparisons in this?
So we have been thinking of discussing China. Yeah, China. You know the China two-child policy that they forced on their population. I would say it's a coercive action, right? It's not a country. China is not a democratic country. You know that,
Right.
So they can do whatever they want to do and
Absolutely.
dictate things. Where we would not like that. If somebody even tried to force sterilization at some point of time, there was a huge backlash, and our family planning program actually went back 10 years because of that event, whatever happened at that time. So anything that you want to force in the population, there will be a backlash. And with such educated population now we have, there will be a huge problem. So
Right.
so coming to China, so their political things are different, political environment is different, it's a different kind of country. They could force it, but soon they realize now that that was not something that they should have done. And recently, they have reversed the policy.
Right.
Okay.
And it has been considered a failure.
Yeah.
China's population one-child policy.
But
I think that you cannot straightway say that it is failure.
Okay.
Because their intention objective was quite different from objective that India has. India is a democratic country. India never tried to force family planning by number. India tried that education will improve, awareness will improve, and family will spontaneously use family planning. And India actually promoted family planning but never forced family planning. What Dr. Acharya was saying that that we tried once forced family planning and that backclassed, and that is actually really pushed back 10 years or 5 years. Even now we are realizing and we are criticizing ourselves that overemphasize on sterilization is actually
kind of force.
it didn't work very
So
well.
you want to control, you don't want any more children. You go to a facility, they are telling you have to have sterilization. Okay.
Right.
And maybe over campaign. That
Over
campaigning was so strong.
So if you don't have a choice, you are forced to accept sterilization. So it's like that. So that's why we have been talking. The government has realized that and adding more and more choices to the basket. They have recently added injectables, and they have other
and in fact, you are raising the point of European.
Yeah, Bangladesh and Nepal and Europe.
Yeah, we'll come into that future. They see that if you see Europe, that our contraceptive prevalence rate at this point of time is 54%. That means 54% of our currently married women are using any contraceptive method. Now, with this,
That's very surprising because the rest 50% almost,
And
they
not-
don't use it.
yeah,
That
You
means
have to use all the time.
yeah, that's why, that you have to
One point of
understand.
time, right?
it's one point of time, yeah?
So they also have to have children. They also have other aspirations.
Ah.
Okay. So it's about that.
Yeah, please continue. You were...
And with that, 54, I will say many European countries with 54 CPR is having much lower fertility than India. Now, why then Indian fertility is not actually couldn't reach that level that some of the European countries had done? This is because of only one reason, that we are over, relied on sterilization. Therefore, when they have accepted sterilization, women already completed their family size. Therefore, the use of contraception was not having that impact that it should be. What Dr. Acharya was saying, now we are having basket for spacing methods. Means, we are having oral contraceptive pill, condom, injectables, IUCD. There are many choices now. If we can really promote spacing methods, then definitely our population control or that parameter we say that sustainable growth will be much better than that we have. Bangladesh, Nepal, these two countries have shown on many grounds that they have done really tremendous job, including Indonesia. They have done a great job through NGO network, and for the maternal mortality, Nepal has done tremendous improvement, and for family planning, Bangladesh has proved that it is possible because their improvement in CPR and total fertility rates is significant, in these Asian countries. And Indonesia, even that when that many places religion and fertility become a hot topic.
I want to come to that point now, actually. Then we can give the example of Indonesia. That is a big worry for this country called India, because China, they can impose anything. In India, there is this religious sensitivity issue. Especially, I want to mention that Muslim community. There is a sensitivity. You cannot use contraception. There are a large number of Muslims still today think, you cannot control your population because it is by nature. So whatever comes, you have to accept it. On the other hand, your Maulana and Maulavis, all the religious leaders, they have also been against this thing. I want to clearly give the message to the entire Muslim community of India and to the world that your God didn't come to you and tell you that don't have or have this many kids or don't have this many kids. It is you who has to decide how many kids you want to have, and you can use all the means that God has also created. And you should give special focus to your child planning, family planning, because if you don't, you do not have the resources to take care of your own family. And do not excuse or use the excuse of religion, that your religion allows you to have more children, or your religion stops you to use contraceptives. I want your opinion on this, since you belong to this same community. How do you see religion playing a role in this concept of population control?
See, religion, as already you have said, that religion is playing role, but we should try to focus more as a part of the country, to look towards our country, not towards our religion. And we should try to focus on what are the different natural methods we can practice, and assist on different methods with the government and other policy makers. They are because we cannot force anybody on the basis of religion or democratic country.
So you cannot force.
You cannot force. So
We'll come.
Statistic here. That in the National Family Health Survey, those people who don't use, they are asked, why don't you use? Okay, you don't want any more children, but why don't you use family planning? And the reason for religious reason is a minuscule of that whole number of reasons that they are given.
So practically religion is not an issue.
I don't think
It's not an issue.
in fact, that we critically
Religion is not an issue.
we critically analyze religion and fertility. It's wrong.
Wrong.
Absolutely, what we should see, that the socio-economic background of population.
Yes.
Absolutely. That is the point that I wanted to bring in.
If you compare
Right.
that, the lowest quantile or low socio-economic background, then you will see that fertility is also high for other religions.
Absolutely. I want to give the example. I want to give you some historical, I want to present a historical background on this. After independence, our population, I am just giving ransom figures because I cannot remember exact the figures. When I did this study, it was around 350 million. India's population was around 350 million. India's population 1947 I am talking about was 350 million. Today it is like 1,000, 1,200, 360. We have added this.
1 billion.
Now the surprising fact is that the proportion of Muslims then, the proportion of Muslim population then was almost equal to the proportion of Muslims today. So if the myth that I want to remove, that if it is often said that Muslims produce more kids, it's actually a myth, because proportion of Muslims then is still equal to the proportion of Muslims today. So that is somewhere, I think, and where this also justifies when you are saying that religion has a little role to play when it comes to fertility. Yeah.
Shanto has said that if you look at the lowest quintile of our socioeconomic categorization, you see that then there is no difference by religion.
Right.
And you see many Muslims are in that category.
Right.
Proportion of Muslims in the lower category is high. Okay. So of course you will think that Muslims are not using contraception,
Yeah.
which is not true.
Which is not true.
Okay. So I mean, let's not make it a religion.
Yeah, right. We are no intention, but I think this is one of the important topic to discuss on this.
See that now globally we have strong evidence that religion doesn't matter.
Yes.
It matters your education, and this education is not saying that graduation and post graduation. Education means awareness towards the subject.
Yes.
Therefore, if that is happening, I don't think that there is any other attribute
Yes.
that we have to really.
Awareness and its application is very important.
Absolutely.
And we cannot say.
So I want to give a clear message to all our politicians or common people who are trying to manipulate the concept of religion in population, and you want to create a sense of fear in the society. Please note that there is no such fear in practical and reality. We want to move on the point that let us talk on some solutions now. What are the solutions, the current, and also want to present some scattered or discrete incidents or trends that are there quite prominent in this country, especially because we are socio-economic backward, and one of them is unintended pregnancy. How do we deal? What is the trend on it, and how do we deal with it?
See that unintended pregnancy is really concern. It's very high, but at the same time,
And how do we exactly define unintended pregnancy when you
that
say
means
that?
that the pregnancy which was very for a layman language. I'm
Right.
not going into that statistical
Absolutely.
definition, that which was not intended, but still it is pregnant. And then either delivered or it is terminated. Therefore, that is the whole concept of unintended pregnancy. Now, in India, we have around 48% of total pregnancy is
So it's about half.
half of the pregnancy is unintended.
About 24 million pregnancies in India every year are unintended.
27 million.
24.
24 million is unintended. And out of them, if half are born,
Half are not born.
half are not born.
Yeah.
So that means half are born at
About
least.
2/3 of them are aborted.
I
Okay.
see.
And the rest, some will be miscarriage and all those, and some will be born as live.
And the question you have raised is very pertinent. Then you can understand that you already raised that 53% currently using contraception.
Right.
Therefore, 47 are not currently using any method. Few genuinely probably they want immediate child. Few they do not want, but they are not still using contraception. Therefore, again that parameter of knowledge, awareness, and their intention to act on family planning is coming. Therefore, unless this whole awareness and self-interest to go for contraception is coming, I think the unintended pregnancy still will remain high. And there are many socio-economic consequences for unintended pregnancy, and India is really having that challenge. When probably that intended pregnancy will be the whole pregnancy, probably that the quality of health and everything will change too much. And probably that we say always that this is unintended, women are not using contraception, but we do not see the ground reality. We have A to E class of villages. E class villages are having very low, population size.
Right.
How many villages are having even regular supply of contraception? Do they have real choice? Therefore, it is not really we have reached to that level, but we are trying our best. I think, if women start using spacing methods, not sterilization, then probably the whole world will change, and it will change for India.
I just have a small negative point on this. Don't you think contraceptives are a bit expensive? Even condoms? Even for we're talking about village, okay? 70% of the population lives in villages.
It is
Where are condoms free?
see that ASAs are doing.
I don't find condoms anywhere free.
No, I think that unfortunately.
Not even villages.
To any of the Delhi municipality hospital clinics or something, you get it free.
No,
there.
I think
No, they are quite unhealthy to use actually.
Delhi, I'm telling you that.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about villages.
I'm saying that.
Do we have services? Because
I'm
50.
I'm saying that urban area is little unfortunate. They do not have access that access is having in the rural area, because ASAs are doing great job. Now
Okay.
ANMs are
You
doing
know about
great
Ashas?
job.
Asha is a health
Accredited,
worker, accredited health worker at the village level. Every 1,000 population have one Asha in our country.
Okay.
Okay, and they are our food soldiers. So they do all these things. The recent change that we have in, for example, institutional delivery. Okay, it jumped from about 45% to 80% now.
Huge.
In 10 years. Why
Okay.
it has? Because they've used Ashas. Ashas will encourage a woman to go to hospital for delivery.
So, but this is by central government? The ASHA project?
It is
ASHA's?
both.
Okay, center and state.
Yeah.
It's a-
And everywhere, I think that they are the social catalyst of India at this point of time.
Yeah, that
Therefore,
is
that earlier our issue was home delivery.
Yeah.
And that became home delivery totally transformed into institutional delivery.
And they are all ladies?
all ladies.
Yes.
They are all ladies.
Yeah, and then they are from the community. They are representing community. They are not
So they know
representing.
everybody in their
Yeah.
community.
Locality.
They
Yeah.
know every woman in their community. They keep a register. They help them in getting contraception.
And actually that that you have to understand there are lots of myths and misconception within the committee, because myths and misconceptions are what? Myths and misconceptions is that contraception is not good, contraception is having side effects, it will give some other impact, and then male sterilization is bad. After male sterilization, male will
Cannot have sex.
cannot have sex, and all this, and then
Oh, yeah.
these are the
it's,
issues, I think,
we
need to
can
tackle.
talk about. Okay, so China has one child policy. India has adopted two child policy.
No.
Though it is not, is it
No.
a myth or true?
It is misconception, and sometimes it is some people and political leaders have raised this question, but it is not a policy.
I see.
India is having a democratic policy for fertility. Therefore, it is couple's choice, and they respect couple's choice. India has never forced by number.
So they have given incentives. Incentives in a sense that you have one children and that to lady, she will get admission to top colleges and schools. All these private schools and incentives.
Some
Yeah,
governments have done it.
Right.
But some for their own employees and all those things.
yeah.
But it is national.
It is also not a national policy,
Level.
but some private institutions have taken it. I think Lady Shri Ram College also has this policy, or some other colleges, if I can remember correctly. So there are some colleges, there are some options you can mention that if you have only one child and that to a daughter, she can get admission to a best colleges. So that kind of incentives
That is a difference.
maybe there.
Because
But are they there? Do they really exist?
in India, two child policy nowhere exists.
No, Acha.
There's nothing. We always encourage, hum do, hamare do.
Yeah. So that basically, I think,
That is old
No,
thing.
but it's not a policy. It's an encouragement.
It's an encouragement.
This is something you should aspire for. Okay.
Okay.
At that time, we used to have 3-4 children.
All right.
minimum, huh? So that time government
Now you should
came
plan
up with a
accordingly.
slogan, say hum do, hamare do. Does not mean that you cannot have third. Okay.
Right.
Policy does not stop you to have third.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Right.
There's nothing like that.
Now,
There is no penalty for third.
Yeah, there's no
Right.
penalty for
A
that.
couple choice, yes.
there is no penalty for
See
third,
that, you know,
but there is incentives for two.
so that you have to understand
something.
that where fertility has declined so significantly, it is not because of incentive. Yes.
Okay.
It is because of social incentive. They understood the reality. Therefore, now Punjab's fertility is 1.7, 1.8. West Bengal's fertility is 1.7. Kerala's fertility is 1.6. How this has happened? Do you think that they only for 1,000 rupees and 2,000 rupees they will actually compromise number of children? It is their own aspiration, that
Right.
quality of children. Therefore, it is not quantity of children. But once upon a time, it was required for quantity of children,
because-
and then perception is changing.
See, when
Because quality of life. People
Absolutely.
are aware about
I do remember.
education and
Right.
Yeah, exactly,
needs,
of
daily
course.
needs. So these are the main
They want
things
their
people are much aware
children
about
to
that.
have quality
Quality
education. If they have
education.
5 children,
Then
the same
same
resource
thing.
cannot
I-
actually
Much
afford.
aware.
I want to present a psyche that our grandparents had. So when I used to sit with my grandparents, they used to say, have more kids. Why? Because that is your social security.
These are
Because if you have 3 sons, if one is one is ignoring you or is not looking after you, the one of the other two will take care of you. So that was the kind of social, I think, the psyche that was there, which helped population grow.
See that was a time when children was counted by number, and this is the time when children are not counted by number.
So there is a change in psyche. There is a change in psyche. Okay, I want to take a final round of comments on this. So starting from Dr. Acharya. So we have Dr. Rajiv Acharya. We had Dr. Rajiv Acharya from Population Council, which has been working in this field tremendously. So Dr. Acharya, how do you finally conclude this discussion?
I would stick by what I started saying in the beginning, that I'm not pessimistic about it. I'm quite optimistic that we have been, the two kinds of changes have been happening, and probably one is a policy change that happened from 1952 to now. As we discussed, sterilization was the mainstay, and now we are going more for spacing method, giving more choices. So that's one policy level and program level change that we are seeing. The other change we are seeing a rise in education. Look at the girls' education, the rise in girls' education for last 10-15 years. Look at Bihar, for example. Okay, the age at marriage is going up because girls are now in school. Okay, all these social changes are happening, and so I'm optimistic. The thing that we are seeing, that we'll now saying that we'll have 1.7 billion in 250, we may actually be less than that if we are really very
If our policy
hardly work on these social changes policy
Right.
push during this next 15
Right.
years.
That's a very positive note actually to end with. Dr. Banerjee, how do you see, how do you would like to conclude this? And also if you can highlight the contribution of your organization, IPAS, and how is IPAS contributing in this?
See, we are, IPAS is also working directly in the field and mostly with government for ensuring quality of life for women by giving, contraceptive choices. We train, providers on different contraceptive methods, particularly the surgical methods like, IUCD. And then we also train providers for giving safe abortion services, because in India, there was huge maternal mortality due to unsafe abortion, and that world is also changing. And you know that MMR has drastically moved from 327 few years back to now 130. Is a huge achievement for a country like India, and therefore that we do not want any woman die because that woman is denied access, and we want that every woman who want safe abortion services should have that access. Now coming to this point of population control, I will say India is doing very well, that India is not counting number. India is doing very well because India is counting the quality of life. But at the same time, yes, we have many challenges. We need to remember that if we cannot capitalize that demographic dividend, it will be a great loss for a country like India. And today, US growth rate is 0.6, China's growth rate is 0.7. our annual growth rate is 1.1. Therefore, I am not much bothered about the growth rate. I am much bothered that how we can really show that empowerment, efficacy, education, and post-education, how you can really utilize this huge million of young population into the earning sector. Therefore, that is, and then inequality. Therefore, we have tremendous inequality. Our Gini coefficient is really not favorable. Therefore, I think that if we cannot maintain that equality within the society, that will be really challenging for India's population beyond number.
Ms. Nasreen, I want to come to you with the final comment, and I also would like to wish you the very best for the upcoming election. I think on 6th of January we'll see will there be any leadership change, will there be some new people.
Yes.
So first, final comment on this theme.
Already I am thinking that the final comment is that already we have spoken a lot. We will try to overcome poverty. Already we have overcome it. And then education, awareness programs, and women empowerment, all these, and policies.
Right.
If we will apply all these, then I think so India will lead to a good nation and a well-developed nation. And
we all look forward to see that. I mean, our generations and generations have seen it. We are also dreaming it.
Yes.
And unless we act, we are going nowhere.
Action,
so
that's
it's
we should act.
right. Now, as an addition to this, I wanted to see my viewers and also take a direct message from you. If there are any IICC members who would be watching us, what do you have in mind, and why are you contesting this election, India Islamic Culture election? What is your message to the members? How can you contribute to this?
I am from educational field, so mainly I will look forward to work on education, and education, health, sports, women activities, women participation, all are included. So I think so that with the help of the intellectuals and the think tank, if they get all elected, and with the cooperation of the members, we will reach to its new destination, and our voice will be there in IICC. And especially for the women and senior citizen, we should try to make the policies and the programs so that we will empower them for our country also, and for the benefit of the IICC also. So women empowerment is very important, different skill programs, value programs, and with the help of the government institution, we can try to overcome all the problems which is present in our society, and especially in our community also, and at global level we can take IICC to.
So viewers, actually, I wanted this discussion on this platform because I cannot have another discussion on India Islamic Cultural Elections. If any members of India Islamic Cultural Center watching, or current leadership is watching, I only have one message to you. Don't you think it's a condemnable offense when you have only 3 women candidates against 27 or 29 people? Where is your gender equality? If you cannot bring your gender equality to such a high level and esteemed institution, how can you promote your community? If you have only 3 women in this panel in this time, so I would request and urge each one of you, do elect and give space to your women. Because if you do not think that your society is going to grow anywhere. I do not think that you as men is going to contribute more than any of the candidates as women. I think women can do more, because as men, what you have done till date is not praiseworthy. So do give a chance to all the women candidates who are contesting in this. But I want to come back to my audience, my panelist on the subject that we were talking, unplanned population growth. Thank you so much for coming and being part of this important discussion. I think it was one of the best discussions on unplanned population growth that I have been part of, or I have observed. Viewers, keep watching. We'll come with similar important topics that are important for the country. So stay tuned. Do like our Facebook page and all the social media pages. We would keep you proud. Thank you so much and good night.